committee to share remarks from the committee with the board. Sir, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, Executive Director Russell, and distinguished members of the Executive Board, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to address you today on behalf of my colleagues on the 2023 annual report of the UNICEF Audit Advisory Committee, also referred to as the AAC. In an era of permacrisis involving protracted conflicts, devastating climate change, and difficult economic choices, UNICEF responded to 412 humanitarian crises in 2023, touching the lives of millions of children. Let me appreciate, on behalf of my fellow committee members, the tireless efforts of the UNICEF workforce for their outstanding service to the cause of children. The AAC is mandated to advise the Executive Director on her governance, management, and oversight responsibilities and inform the Executive Board through the annual report. It is a multidisciplinary group of 6 independent professionals with expertise in organizational oversight, financial and risk management, and governance. The AAC's 2023 work plan aligned its charter was delivered through 3 regular sessions and an informative field visit to the Eastern and Southern African region and virtual meetings as needed. Together, they constitute the basis of our report, and Section 7 of our report lists our advice for the year under strategy and governance, risk management, and oversight. I'll speak to these highlights. On strategy and governance, the committee was informed that the recommendations of the Joint Inspections Unit on Governance and oversight of the executive boards, including UNICEF, was being assessed by the boards. With respect to the oversight committees, the AAC supports a dual reporting to the executive board in addition to the executive director, a model already in practice in some specialized UN agencies. Pending the board decisions, the AAC proposed 1, holding periodic private meetings between the AAC chair and the executive director, and 2, amending its charter to provide the AAC chair free and unrestricted access to the president of the executive board. The committee also advised acceleration of policy work on delegation of authority, artificial intelligence, anti-fraud, environmental and social safeguards, and further succession planning. It remains concerned about the increased donor conditionalities that risk projectization and constricts the ability of a decentralized organization to respond with agility. Next, on strengthening risk management, the committee welcomes the board's interest in enterprise risk management in an increasingly complex risk landscape. The AAC advised UNICEF to involve the board in finalizing its risk appetite and tolerance. Acceleration was advised in operationalizing our ERM, building capacity in headquarters and field, and producing insightful executive risk reporting. A robust anti-fraud policy framework with continuous monitoring systems is critical, given the disproportionality, small value of reported annual financial losses compared to the large programs throughout the difficult operating context. Next, on oversight matters, UNICEF will benefit from developing a combined assurance map as a visual matrix of the key risks and all assurance providers who cover them. It will help identify assurance gaps and duplications and minimize audit fatigue. On the internal audit and investigations function, I will emphasize 4 points. First, the AAC welcomes the practice of closed briefings to the Executive Board, including on the work plan. Second is the need to disclose the internal audit assurance gap to the Executive Director and the Executive Board, particularly on the assurance deficits in information technology and the low, medium risk ranked country offices. The third was to revise the language of the annual opinion to mitigate the risk of overstatement, which has since been considered in their latest annual report. And fourth, on investigations, there's an urgent need for increased use of technology, including artificial intelligence, for faster intake assessments and proactive investigations. On the evaluations front, the committee was pleased to note that its feedback was considered in the finalization of the new evaluation policies and refers to 3 key advisory points. First is to incentivize a stronger evaluation culture through executive support to its results, including evaluation as a performance criteria for senior leadership. Second is to formulate strategy to address the 3 commonly espoused concerns of the regional evaluators related to unpredictable funding, constrained capacity, and inadequate utilization of evaluation. And third is to periodically assess the independence and effectiveness of the regional evaluation and strengthen the work plan coordination among all levels. On the ethics function, the committee advised acceleration in drafting its charter after benchmarking with similar institutions and the JIU reports and inform its resourcing decision. The committee had productive private sessions with the Board of Auditors and the Ombudsman, and while the Executive Director and AAC could not meet in 2023 due to scheduling challenges, 2 open and extremely constructive conversations have already taken place in 2024. Lastly, we appreciate the committee secretary, Mr. Sunil Raman, for leading a pioneering secretariat function within the UN system. The recommendations of his study on the secretariat practices for 23 UN oversight committees were unanimously adopted by all of its chairs and also shared with the Secretary General. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chambers, for your remarks from the committee.